Washington gives Denmark and the Netherlands the green light to supply Ukraine with US-made F-16s.
The US, Japan and South Korea have formed a security pact aimed at ensuring peace and stability in the Pacific. Chinese property giant Evergrande asks a US court for debt protection, sparking fears of a growing crisis in China's real estate market.
Washington has given Denmark and the Netherlands permission to supply Ukraine with US-made F-16s. Ukraine has long pleaded for the fighter jets from its Western allies, and 11 countries have already pledged to give Ukrainian pilots the necessary 6 months of training to fly the planes.
Dat het goed nieuws is dat de Amerikanen zeggen dat dat een logische vervolgstap is op de training. Dat vinden wij ook. We zijn samen met Denemarken hebben dat opgezet. We zijn volop bezig om te zorgen dat de Oekraïners zo snel mogelijk getraind worden op de F-16's. En dan wil je natuurlijk ook dat uiteindelijk laten volgen door het daadwerkelijk leveren van de vliegtuigen.
Ukraine is relying on decades-old Soviet-era aircraft, which are vulnerable to air-to-air missile attacks. But it's unclear when the F-16s will be used in active combat. Previously, Washington had concerns the move could escalate tensions with Russia, but has since said that these jets will be crucial for Ukraine's long-term security. Ukraine and its neighbor Romania have agreed to work together to boost Kyiv's grain exports, a move that comes after weeks of Russian strikes on Ukrainian grain storage and port facilities. With the deal, Kyiv is hoping that Romania will transport more than 60% of its grain exports through the Danube River and road and rail links into Europe. Large parts of the global south rely on Ukraine's wheat, barley, and sunflower oil. Since Russia pulled out of a wartime agreement that allowed Kyiv to export foodstuffs to the rest of the world, global food prices have increased by 1.3%. The co-chair of a Russian independent election monitoring group has been placed in pre-trial detention until at least October 17th. Gregory Melkonyants, who is a member of Golos, was detained in Moscow on suspicion of working with the European network of election monitoring organizations, a group the Kremlin has labeled undesirable. Since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine last year, Moscow has intensified its crackdown on critical voices and organizations with foreign ties.
The leaders of the US, Japan and South Korea have agreed to expand security and economic ties at a historic summit. The deal is aimed at ensuring stability in the Pacific and isn't, President Biden insisted, a pact against Beijing.
I'll just say this summit was not about China. That was not the purpose of the meeting, but it did come, China obviously came up. Not to say we don't share concerns about the economic coercion or heightened tensions caused by China, but this summit was really about our relationship with each other and deepening cooperation across an entire range of issues that went well beyond just the immediate issues we raised.
But Beijing condemned the meeting even before it began, seeing it as the first steps of a Pacific version of NATO being set up to counter its influence in the region. Hours after the summit ended, China launched military drills around Taiwan. China's second-largest property developer Evergrande has asked a US court to approve a restructuring plan to avoid defaulting on some $340 billion in debt. The company has denied reports suggesting it filed for bankruptcy. China's housing sector has been booming since the late 1990s, but there have been recent warning signs that the bubble may pop as the country's economic growth slows and the government caps rents in major cities to keep housing affordable. Just days ago, shares in another Chinese property giant, Country Garden, plummeted after the company missed bond payments and warned of multi-billion-dollar losses. Now there are fears that the news portends serious structural problems in a vital sector of the world's second-largest economy, something that could have repercussions across the globe.